Today we will be unboxing my third brand new Tisas pistol. These come in a very nice heavy-duty carrying case. And let's take a look at this beauty. What could be in here today? Wowee! That thing is nice. That is a Tisas tanker. A tank commander, to be more specific. That's a nickname for it. It's a commander size pistol, and it comes in at a length of 4.25 inches. And you see that it's got some beautiful Turkish walnut grips. I went ahead and put a coat of grease on those. I like to grease all my pistols. There's what I use, the Rig Universal Grease. And what comes with the pistol? Well, you can see we've got a nice brush. We've got the nice rod here that you can put a cleaning patch in. Comes with an instruction book. Comes with a highlight tag to tell you what you're getting. A couple of sets of grips. It has the little wrench inside there for turning the bushing, which you will never need that wrench. Plastic lock and a spare magazine. I'm loving that. This is a Metgar stainless steel magazine. That's a 7-rounder. And those are very well built, man. It says .45 and it says Metgar, little bitty letters, made in Italy. So that's a very nice feature to have. 2 mags, one in the gun and one right there. So without further ado, most people don't like to look at a box very long. I want to get it out of that environment because it looks trapped, controlled, and sad. So let me use my time machine. We will take that out of that situation quick, fast, and in a hurry. Just like now, our tank commander is in the format that's more to his liking. He likes to be right there with the ammo. You can see the 2 mags. I'll keep them close by. But that tank commander is a beauty, boy. That thing is nice. So let's talk about some of the things this checked off of my list. These are the boxes that he checks. This is kind of what I was looking for. Number 1, the new Nickle Tank Commander. It is a gunfighter's pistol. I wanted something that we could really make into a gunfighter's pistol. One for everyday carry, for knocking around. One that can do a lot of different functions. But the main thing is to be a gunfighter's pistol. To be very durable. So Tisas has knocked it out of the park yet again with this 1911. And it definitely checks all my boxes. But let's start off with the boxes one at a time. The first box is it needs to be a 4.25 inch commander size. So we've got that 4.25 inch commander size. I wanted it to be nickel plated for durability, and it is. Man, they did a fantastic job. This is the electroless nickel plating. They do it with a chemical process. This is the exact same thing that Remington does on their Marine electroless nickel plated shotgun, which I happen to own, and it has really done well through the years for me. Electroless means they don't use electrodes and electricity to plate it. It's a chemical process. They heat up all the parts and put them in a tank of a solution, and then the nickel bonds to the surface of the metal, but still a very durable finish. So nickel plated for durability. I wanted a simple design that's like the GI original, meaning no forward cocking serrations. I wanted a nice small thumb safety, and also I wanted the internal guide rod to be the short GI guide rod. No full length guide rod, don't need that. It doesn't do anything, doesn't help me at all. Next thing on the list, I wanted it to be set up for high power. A plus P rated steel gun. This is a plus P rated steel gun. I wanted a set of plastic grips to go with it. Came with the black plastic grips. That's in case you wanted to really use it for a fighting style pistol and make sure that it's completely durable against water and stuff like that. I've got the walnuts. It comes with the walnuts right on it. But these plastic grips, they come with the kit in the box. And those would just be better if you had to go into the water a lot. Just be a little bit more durable than wood in water. But I do like the walnuts for right now. We're going to leave them in place for right now. They just they look beautiful, especially after I put that nice grease on them. I may leave those and just let those endure the water. You're welcome to do that however you see fit, whether you want brown wood or black plastic. I wanted one also that had solid fixed sights. It has that. This has the fixed sights, has the fixed sight on the front. Not a GI, it's a little taller than a GI. It's got fixed sights in the rear. Good solid, no white dots, none of that stuff, just good solid. This is a fighting gun for up close personal fighting. I wanted to have a chrome lined barrel inside and out for durability. You can see it has that. Now, some people may think that's nickel, but it is not nickel, that is chrome. You can tell that because it has a blue tint to it. Chrome has a blue, and the nickel coating on the gun itself, on the slide frame and all the parts, is more of what they call a champagne color. It is kind of like platinum, really a platinum color. Very nice, and they've done it to everything, man. I mean, they did the safety, they did the back strap, they did the pins, they did the screws, the frame itself, lower frame, the slide, all that stuff is all nickel coated, and then just the barrel itself is the hard chrome inside and out. Also, I wanted to have a forged frame sliding barrel. It met that criteria. This is a forged frame, a forged slide, and the barrel is also hammer forged parts. On the inside, I wanted no MIM parts. Tisas nailed that, man. I mean, this gun is built solid. This is a fighting rig right here. It has no MIM parts inside it. I have already taken it apart. It's a brand new gun, but I can't leave them alone. As soon as I get a brand new gun in, the very first thing I do is I tear it apart. I want to see what's in it. The barrel itself had a couple of little really sharp points where they machined on it. And the very back side of the barrel where the throat is, those corners of the lugs had a couple of real sharp, felt like a thorn on a rose. And I took a fine file, like a jeweler's file, and just very carefully dress those little sharp tips off, then hit it with some 1600 sandpaper, and that was the end of that. They weren't going to cause any problems, but I just don't like the sharp parts. And the last thing on my checklist that I wanted this gun to do for me is I wanted it to be cheap, because I'm cheap. I'm a cheap person on guns. I don't want to waste all my money. I wanted to do everything I wanted to do and be cheap. This came in at $3.99. Can you hear that? $3.99. Say, where did you get that? I got that from Palmetto State Armory. Palmetto State Armory. I call it Pimento Cheese Sandwich. That's the only way I can remember the name of the place. Pimento Cheese Sandwich makes guns for me. They don't build them. They bring them in from Turkey, from Tisas, but they stock a lot. I call them PSA now. Palmetto State Armory. PSA. They stock a lot of nice guns. They're very cool builders of some AR-15s, AR-10s, but they've got a slew of these, and usually the very best ones that they have on the upper end are usually sold out, but they do have the little click. You can click the email, and they'll email you as soon as they get a fresh batch of them. I want to tell you, with dealing with Palmetto, they are very good people. You can go online and find the gun you want. You could be in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, be dreaming of having a nice tank commander like this. You can take your credit card out, click it, pay for it, and in the drop-down menu in the filters, ask about an FFL in your area. Tell it you want it to be within 50 miles. And it popped up Fort Thompson's for me, so they did a 2-day air package on this for $3.99, and I had to pay $19 for shipping, and I think about $20 for a insurance package, and had that zapped over to Fort Thompson's, and then you pay them a small fee for borrowing their federal firearm license. So that was nice to be able to do some window shopping on my phone, in the bed, 3 a.m., dreaming of having a commander-sized gun, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a commander-sized gun. I wanted one that had all those things I just talked about on the list. I wanted a little small safety. I've already changed out some parts on that, but that'll be the next video. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But look at that. Man, that thing is beautiful. A nickel coated gun, nickel coated for corrosion, for salt water, for a little bit of everything. Everything's nickel on it. See, the barrel bushing is nickel coated. Everything on that gun is nickel, man. And it is very, very nice. So that's its environment where it likes to be. I've built it a little bed out of an old box, filled it up with reloads, and it loves those right there. That's where it lives. It lives in a box of bullets. Some people like to put them in foam. They don't breathe foam very good. These like to breathe. They like to breathe this right here. That's what they breathe. They run off of bullets. They like bullets, so we'll give them some fresh bullets to live in, and that makes them happy. When you pull that gun out, you want to be greased up and rounded up with bullets and ready to go. So I love my new nickel coated Tank Commander. I want to go over these highlights again. It is a 4.25 Commander size. It is nickel plated for durability. It is a simple design like the GI original. No forward cock and serration. Small thumb safety in place. GI guide rod. Nice, short, and simple. It is rated for +P. It is plastic grips that won't hold moisture if you want to put those on there. It's solid fixed sights, but not the small front sights like a GI. They're slightly bigger. It is a chrome lined, chrome plated barrel inside and out for durability, easy to clean. It has a non-ramped, I forgot to tell you that, has a non-ramped, fully supported barrel. It is loose fit overall for reliability, function in the dirt. I have measured the gap between the sliding frame. We're at a total of 11 thousandths. That's 11 thousandths, so 5.5 on each side of the rail. No MIM parts. It has a forged frame, forged slide, forged barrel, and comes in at the low price of $3.99. You cannot build this gun right here for $3.99. And you're not going to find one of these anywhere else except for Palmetto State Armory, Pimento Cheese Sandwich. Pimento Cheese Sandwich has these. That's my nickname for them. I hope they don't get mad at me and cut me off and never let me buy a gun again, but it's a pimento cheese sandwich gun right here. You open up your lunch sack, pimento cheese sandwich will be in there, and one of these guns just like that. Tank Commander, 4.25 inch, nickel coated, 2 nice Metgar, highly polished stainless steel mags. You can load those up, 7 rounds apiece, and 1 in the tube. You got 8 rounds in, 8 rounds, 7 here. Eighth one will be on the inside, so you have 16 rounds ready to go, and you can take care of business with that. Now, what else do you have on something like this? Well, you need to get yourself a nice piece of leather, because if you're going to carry a solid steel gun like this, you need some nice leather. So I've got that also. So there's my leather, and that is, say, that looks like a sales pitch. That is a 1791 piece of leather right there. Let's see if I put it like that. Look at that. That's a sales pitch. It sure is. You're not going to find any better leather than that right there either. That is good leather, 1791. I love it. That's my carry rig now. That's my everyday carry rig. And we're going to talk about this here in a minute. Let me go ahead and shut down for now, and I'm going to get some parts out for you to look at. Be right back. Okay, another thing I like to do on these pistols, Tisas is famous for sending these pistols out with springs that are set up for the +P application, and I do all my own hand loading. So the very first thing that I do is take these pistols apart. I check them out on the inside, make sure I get all the grit out of them, if there is any, machine dust, old factory oil. Check for sharp edges on any of the things like the barrel lug on this. On the rear of the barrel lug, I had a couple of sharp points like thorns. I go ahead and hit them with a file, real fine jeweler's file, and take those little sharp points off. But the next thing that I do, you can see that right there. See that says Tanker OEM Parts. And you can see that came to me from Wolf, WC Wolf Company. So before the gun was ever ordered, I ordered springs that I wanted for it. I also ordered from EGW, and I also ordered from Wilson Combat. So let's talk about these parts one at a time. This is the first part right here. This is a new spring. Actually, the spring in here is the factory spring out of the gun. You can always tell that on a Tisas because their springs are black. So I took the spring that was in here. I'm going to say it was about probably about a 22 or 24. It was a very high pressure spring, and that's made for shooting the plus P ammo. I shoot lightweight hand loads. That's what I have here. That's what we shoot here on the farm. I build my own bullets because they're half the price of buying them from the factory. So I shoot these nice 185 grain. Those are berry bullets, berry plated bullets. And I use 4 grains, actually 4.25 now, just a little extra. 4.25 grains of powder. It gives me a nice light load. So I can't use that very heavy spring that's in there. So I replace that spring inside the gun. It's not expensive to do this. It doesn't break any laws or cause any issues. It just makes the gun run buttery smooth. There's your stock number, is 42514. This is a 14 pound, that's where the part number is, probably 42514. 14-pound load rating spring, and it is a variable power recoil. So now when you cock the gun, cycle the gun, it has the same effect to me. This is how I kind of compare it. It feels like when you are pulling back a compound bow that has the pulleys on it. At variable rate spring makes it where it's a little bit hard in the beginning, and then it just gets smoother and easier and softer. And then as the gun's going back into battery, it gets more serious all the time until it closes up and chambers that round. But it makes it so much smoother and easier to cycle that than one that has a plus P spring. I mean, I'm just using one finger and one thumb. I'm not having to manhandle it, just real easy, and it cocks good. So I really like that. That's the first spring that I changed, is the recoil spring inside. That's probably 20, 22 pounds. Factory spec on these springs is supposed to be 16 for a GI gun and 18 for a commander size gun, and they go over that because, like I say, they're trying to run plus P. So it may be a 22 or 24. I dropped that down to a nice 14-pound recoil spring. All right, what next do you do? The next thing I do is I change out this set of springs. This does the pre-travel. In the middle spring, pre-travel, the one on the left is for your sear, that's your trigger brake, and the one on the far right is for your grip safety. So I go ahead and change these out. If you look at them closely, you'll see that the machine that cuts these cuts them out a little extra. And so they're using a spring that's like this to begin with. This is the spring that came out of the gun, and the spring that went back in is cut very similar to that. It has extra etching here. But anyway, I like to keep the factory spring out of the gun. That way, if I want to sell the gun or put it back to exactly the factory for some reason, I've got the factory spring. I always put it back in the package I took it out of, so that I know that when I see the package torn and been beat up, I know I've used that package before. So that takes care of that. And the next spring that I change out is the one for the magazine catch spring. That one right there. It had one you had to stand on it with both feet to get that to release the mag, and now it's nice and smooth. I put in a nice Wolf reduced that does have a round in it. We're not going to chamber it, but you can see that it is nice and smooth and easy, no problem at all. So I like that a lot. Watch this, just barely bump it, in she goes, hit it, and it will come out. Now right now there's nothing pushing down against it because the gun slides right to the rear. But go ahead and push that. I'm just going to pull that gently, and you can see, I mean, that is a very nice, smooth spring. So there's that. Got that taken care of. That is the magazine catch spring. And I used on that a number 3, reduced power number 3. And that's from Wolf Corporation. Did a great job on that. The last one that I did is this one. I'm very picky about this. This is the plunger tube assembly spring, stainless steel. Comes from Berryville, Arkansas, from Wilson Combat. It's got a part number R33AS, R33AS. And what that does for you is this little plunger spring goes in this little plunger tube right here, and that gives me the nice snick. I call it a snick. That's my nickname for it. It gives me this. See that? Nice snick. I want that thumb safety to be very serious, going both directions. I want it to be hard to go to safe, and then when I draw that gun out of my holster, I want my thumb to feel something real good and crisp, and when I push down, I want to hear that thing click. Hear that? Say it again. I'll be quiet so you can hear it click. Let me get close. All right, so that thing's got a good positive click on the safety. It makes it a little harder to take this apart. If you have to take safety out, it's a little harder to get that back in there, but I don't care about that because I don't do that very much. But you want a good, solid, positive click. And Wilson Combat builds these. They are called Wilson Combat Factory Plus Plunger Spring assembly for the 1911 stainless steel pistol. So R33AS is part number of Wilson Combat, and I put that in every one of them pistols. Notice the one that's in there is black. That is the factory one that came out of the gun. I put it back in the package that I swapped it out, so if I need to go back to factory, I can. No reason to, because that is going to be my gun. I'm going to keep that rig. That thing is super nice. I really, really like it. So far, it has worked out good. Everything on it is good and clean. It's good and straight. There's no problems with the gun. The finish is very smoothly done. I haven't found any blemishes. Some people buy these as a blemish gun and say that they're awesome even as a blemish gun, but it's just nice. Everything about it is well done. You can see the tip of that slide stop pin there. It's been nickel coated. The trigger's nickel coated. The magazine catch or release is nickel. The screws are nickel coated. The rear sight is nickel. The front sight is nickel coated. Everything on this gun is nickel except for the barrel. And the barrel has got that blue hue to it. And that lets you know that you're dealing with chrome. So that's a chrome lined. It's interior, exterior, everything about that barrel is chrome plated. I like that. I like the little hole in the rear, in the hammer. I like that little hole right there. One thing I did not talk about, oh, I almost forgot this one. I bet I don't have an example of this. I had this in stock with me, but I did go ahead and replace the mainspring in here. It's called a mainspring, but it's also called the hammer spring. I replaced that. That one, factory on these is 23. According to GI specification, should be a 23. This one felt like about a 33. So it was almost impossible to cock the hammer with your thumb. If you had oil on your thumb, you weren't going to do it. It's going to slip off there. So I got rid of that, put that back to factory. So the mainspring is now a 23 instead of the 33 that came in it. I don't know why, other than just plus P. They're trying to make them heavy duty. But now it's a lot easier to cock. Always keep this in mind when you cycle the slide on a 45 pistol. You are working against the recoil spring and the mainspring or hammer spring here. So unless you pre-cock the hammer. So every time you go to cycle the slide, you're going to cock the hammer and work against the recoil spring. But you can see that thing is buttery smooth. The trigger now, instead of being 8 pounds from the factory, I've got it down right at 3 pounds. I'm not going to show you the measurement on it. Just too lazy today. But it is right at 3, maybe 3.5. Good and crisp. The take-up is short on these. The 1911 by far is the gold standard. If you want a good trigger in a pistol, get you a 1911. If you don't know how to tune one, get in the comment section and talk with me. I might even give you my phone number and we can talk about how to set these up. It is not difficult. It is not for the faint of heart. If you don't know how to take things apart, you don't have any mechanical ability, take it to a gunsmith or take it to a friend that's very good and had lots of time working on 1911s and get them to change out the sear spring for you and tune it. They're very easy to tune. There's nothing to be shy about on these. I mean, they just work. And John Moses Browning developed that gun long ago, and he did a great job back in 1911. This was the most reliable gun in the world, still is in a lot of ways. He fired 6,000 rounds in a row over the course of 2 days. out there in front of the Army to show that that was the gun they needed, and they signed a contract. And boy, I mean, everybody loved that thing. I still love them. They're popular today. Remington Rand started building them. Singer Sewing Machine built some. Colt built some. Switch and Signal built some. I may not know them all, but I know those for sure were building this gun. And I carried one very similar to this on a topside watch in the Navy, and did a good job. It was a 5-inch. I wish that we had had this nice nickel coating like that around seawater. That would have been a much better coating to have than just having a Parkerized. Parkerized is good, but you got to have it oiled, keep it oiled all the time. And the nickel, it's pretty impervious, if that's a word. It is resistant to rust if you get in a saltwater situation. And that's why those Marine shotguns that Remington build, they use this electroless nickel. Very good coating. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please tap that like and subscribe button. And for my Marine buddies, I've got a couple of friends that send me $2 or $10 or $20 or something for coffee. Thank you so much for that. My coffee stock is doing good right now, so I'm not begging for money, but anybody who wants to send one of those, super thanks. If you learned something today and I saved you a few dollars, share with me if you can. And we hope to see you again on the next video. Just click on anything that says Shoot Fire with Ashley, and you'll get to see how to change those springs out. So thank you very much, and hope to see you on the next video. Over and out for now.